Hello and welcome to my channel here at Drax Gaming. Today we're looking at the PlanetSide test server changes coming to the game soon. Starting off with the AV turret, we've got less range, less time on the projectile, so that means if you curl it, then it's not going to hit, but in a straight line it will hit. So this is pretty much max range for the weapon right here. Now we take a look at the shotgun adjustments happening. They are so-called a nerf, but more like a buff, with the pellet spread being reduced by 0.5 on most shotguns and 0.25 on others. This is the Thanatos, and you can see how easily I take out targets from distance with it now, with the pellet spread being reduced. Not a good thing for PlanetSide. The Gauss Prime, the Directive carbine for NC, is getting a all-round buff in a way. It's less vertical recoil, less horizontal recoil, recoil tolerance down by 0.1, projectile velocity slight buff with just 1 from 650 to 651. That's apparently a bug fix, and the max damage range is going down from 10 meters to 8 meters, which doesn't appear to be much of an issue, as I show here. It's a very good weapon, which seems to work at all ranges. Now looking at the T1A Unity, the Directive medic weapon for TR. It is getting some recoil buffs, but to do that it also has to receive a velocity nerf, because velocity goes down and then recoil goes down. That's kind of how it works. Now we take a look at another Directive weapon. This time it's the Vanu medic's Darkstar, having a slight vertical recoil buff from 0.198 to 0.187. The horizontal recoil is also being buffed from 0.16 to 0.15, and recoil tolerance from 0.7 to 0.525. So overall, an easier to handle weapon than it was before. Now we take a look at the Directive SMG changes that are happening across faction, and this is the addition of a built-in forward grip, high velocity ammunition and extended magazine on all of them. You are getting a max damage range from 10 to 8, a minimum damage range from 48 to 60, ADS cone of fire 0.2 to 0.3, vertical recoil from 0.3 to 0.2, less recoil angle 20 to 15, horizontal recoil is down, and the short reload and the long reload have been adjusted by 0.5 of a second, so slightly longer there. So how about the Directive pistols? Well, they're getting mainly a velocity buff. Velocity is going up from 163 to 132 here on the Immortal, whereas the other two factions get slightly better velocity, up to 375. I believe that's because of the no bullet drop on the Vanu. They're getting ADS cone of fire bloom from 1.12 to 0.06, or near about that number. Magazine size is going up slightly by 2 in most cases, and ammo capacity is going down slightly. So, how about the vehicle changes, primarily being the vehicle thermal optics being renamed threat detection optics, as you will see shortly, and the ESF's Hornet missiles with reduced damage down from 2000 to 1500, reduced indirect damage down from 550 to 250, and indirect damage max range from 4 meters to 3 meters. So overall, a triple nerf for the Hornet missiles. We check them out here, and as you can see, the thermals in the VR training at the moment on the test server are still showing up people. Whether that is intended or not, I'm not so sure. Whether they will still work in close range, but as you can see, I'm circling the distance. So as we go out, we're going past the, we're going about the 350, 500 mark. That's where we want to look. And now I can only see vehicles, and that may be where these optics will stay. I'm not sure if Daybreak Games intend to remove the thermals altogether, so that aircrafts can no longer see infantry. This lies on a 50, I don't know, not even a 50-50 scale. If you're on the ground, people don't like being shot by aircraft, and if you're in the air, you pretty much believe that you should be able to see your targets because thermals are available to us nowadays, so why shouldn't they be available in the future on Auraxis? So anyway, you guys can kind of get the gist of the range right there. Let's switch to the Hornet missiles and check them out. And see how much damage these do now and how many hits will it take to take down certain vehicles. There we go on ESF. And moving on to some heavy armor. That was 4 shots in the rear, but the tank already had health off of it, so it would probably take about 5. And this is to the standard armor without hitting it in the weak point. Go. So we've looked at ESFs, and now we'll look at anti-air. And this anti-air aircraft turret is being nerfed, and what I'm showing you now is pretty much what its max range is going to be from a tower. And that's going to be so much better. You won't be getting hit 5 hexes over when you're flying through the air. Now we're taking a look at the Galaxy weapon, the Bulldog, and the direct damage is being nerfed from 1000 to 600. Still is a one-shot kill, I believe, as you might see here. And the indirect damage is down from 500 to 400. I don't think this will have much of an impact towards players farming infantry, but it will have an impact towards the Bulldog being used as maybe an anti-vehicle weapon. And if you haven't seen already, the Galaxy is getting a new set of weapons. Here we look at the Hyena missile launcher, heat-seeking version, much like the Coyotes. And you have them on the tail of the Liberator already. And trust me, they are quite deadly. As you can see here, they heat-seek from quite a distance away. I mean, that is quite a right angle that missile is making to hit the ESF right there. I think 3 clips and any Empire specific fighter will die. Personally, I think that they need to lessen the distance at which they can heat seek onto things. I really hope they do that in the future. But this looks like how they're going to be for now. And this is how they work on the Liberator as it stands. The Galaxy's also getting the Pelter rocket pods. This is the same version as the Valkyrie's getting, with the buffed velocity, new magazine size, and ammo capacity up from 64 to 100 as standard. And I must say they seem to work quite well. It's quite easy to hit your target. In fact, I think it's easier than using rocket pods on an ESF because of the stability the Galaxy gives. I'm not sure if that would be the same on the Valkyrie, but you can check them out in action against infantry and armor there. So how about those Sunderer Empire specific weapons? Well, we'll take a look at them now. This here is the Aurora LRB for the Vanu, and these go on the rear of the Sunderer at the moment. This fires laser projectiles. You can see the stats on the side. We'll take a look at the sort of damage it does against infantry and vehicles. So max it. Around 10 shots, I think that was. Switch into the lightning. I personally feel that the damage is too little on this gun. It doesn't do well against infantry. It's definitely not doing well against this lightning. I think a slight, I don't know if it's slight, but a damage increase is definitely needed, or a faster fire rate. And here's the Siegebreaker for the TR, which you've just seen the stats for. It's currently not got the firing mechanism and model position in the right place. They haven't quite sorted that out, but you can get the gist of it. It seems to be a pretty decent weapon, and I think I would enjoy firing this more than the Vanu's version. And last but definitely not least of the new Sunderer weapons is the Paladin. And this thing looks great and is fun to fire. I think damage seems to be in the right sort of place, although there's a bit of confusion between like damage. That Max has already took damage at the beginning there, but we fire him again in a sec, and you see it takes, I think, 4 shots here. It's actually 5 then to the body. So we fire the aircraft, it only takes 2. So maybe the damage needs to be played around a bit. Not sure if the Max should take 5 shots of it. And you can see it's quite effective against heavy armor as well. So now we look at the only Harasser change, and that is to the Fury, with its indirect damage changing from 334 to 150. So let's pull a Harasser here and go and fire at some infantry. So there we have NC, light assault, or engineer maybe, and Maxi. Moving on, we have the T7 Mini Chaingun, which has been in the same sort of state for quite a while. They added a spin-up mechanic, now they're lessening the bloom, and I can see some improvements towards it actually firing like a chaingun should, to make it a bit more competitive. And it seems to be going in the right direction, and you can get headshots fairly easily with it, as I'll show here on these stationary targets in VR. A small change to the Betelgeuse means that it's getting a minimum damage nerf down from 125 to 112. Whether that's going to make much of a difference in the primarily close quarters combat that you use it in, I don't think so. You can see some use here in the VR training on the test server. So the NC6A GODSAW, the Directive LMG for NC Heavies, is getting a secondary fire mode. Now this fire mode, rather interestingly, is able to take out all kinds of armor with a reduced damage against infantry by 50%. Now you can see me, you see at the beginning, so we've got normal fire, and then I switch to the secondary fire, and it takes a few more headshots. So how about against armor? Well, you can see here it does decent damage. I can just imagine groups of NC, because there's a lot of NC players who have got this directive weapon by now, and they can be on a hill. You imagine multiples of them firing off. I definitely think it would give them advantage because of the velocity and, well, doing damage to armor via an LMG in itself. We'll have to see how it plays out, but it's definitely interesting. So finally, and probably most notably, how about that change for the Butcher on the TR? Well, now you can see it's got a slightly longer reload time, but once you've reloaded or loaded the clip in the beginning, you have 500 rounds in the barrel, I believe, and you can go for an awfully long time with this weapon. It's going to be such a good weapon for point holds, maybe even solo caps at times. You will not need to switch to your secondary. You don't have a heat mechanic like the Betelgeuse, so you'll never need to wait for that. You can literally blast off shots down stairways if you want to, and keep going. If you get an engineer with you, you pretty much it loads directly into the magazine, so as it stands anyway, so you won't actually need to reload this weapon ever. I'm not sure, but I think that might be changed. But it is very good, very effective, and with a little bit of trigger control, as you can see here in the VR, you can keep firing an awful long time and keep the point held down. So that's all for now, guys. Thanks for watching this video on the update of the PlanetSide test server. You can check the link in the description below to download the test servers for yourselves. But for now, that's all, and thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe for more.